Are we on? Ready? Welcome to another edition of, I don't know if you hear me. Welcome to the Powers Within podcast. We have our guest tonight, and across the table is
Frank.
Braden.
Pauline.
Claude.
and Mark.
And I'm 14.
Myself. Oh, yeah. How old are you, Claude?
19.
I'm 15.
And you?
I'm 16.
Okay. All right. And the topic tonight is, are men and women the same? I need this microphone. It's kind of hard. I got to lean in.
Does
here.
anybody else hear the clicking
Yeah, I
noise?
hear that.
And what's that from?
All right, I gotta
Got
fix
a little,
that.
got a little audio problem here. Bear with us.
Can I put my behind?
While he's fixing that, I'll plug my two books. I have, my first book is, Pauline is having a little fit here. My first book is Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels. Oh, here comes Henry. You joining us tonight, Henry? Oh, my God, we got Henry. Oh, if he makes it alive, he'll be here. We got the doggy door there. We all trip over that, so
Yeah, see, I do the same thing.
makes me feel less old when he does that.
Can I put
I
my
thought I might have been the only one. I can still hear it clicking. Hang on. Okay.
Oh, it's gone.
All right, I decided
Why
to
is
go
that
ahead and
doing
join.
It's still clicking.
It's fine. That happens every single time we do the podcast.
The clicking does?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It-
usually it's not this loud.
It's not this. It's fine. You
Does
can't.
it show up on the...
No, you can only hear it through the
I
headphones.
never noticed that before.
Yeah, but it.
It does it,
Stop.
but
There, it stopped now.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anyways,
Well, we're on now, so anyway.
that's fine. Yeah.
Let me plug... Oh, Henry's here. He's 18 years old.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to plug my books here. Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels. It's a good story, a lot of good life lessons in there from the time I was old enough to remember until right now. So pick up your copy today on Amazon Books. And my second book, The Power is Within. This is more of a motivational, inspirational book. Although my first book is inspirational too, but this is more geared toward how you can clean out the garbage within you to tap into that power that lies within all of us, where you can accomplish whatever you desire. So that's plugged. And tonight, Henry, our topic is, are men and women the same? And before I begin, I don't like this microphone here. It's kind of having a hard time getting. Before I begin, I've been called a misogynist, so we're going to be talking about women tonight. So I'm going to read the definition of misogynist here. So if I fit this, and you can call me this, haters, if you want to. Strongly prejudiced against women, deeply ingrained misogynistic attitudes. I don't think I'm prejudiced against women. It says, here's the, what is the dictionary definition of misogyny? It's a noun, hatred, dislike, or mistrust of women, manifested in various forms such as physical intimidation and abuse, sexual harassment and rape, social shunning and ostracism, etc. The underlying misogyny and, well, I won't say that word, shaming, historically, witch hunts were an embodiment of the misogyny of the time. Well, I don't think I'm a witch hunter, but anyway, I'll read that off. So that's what misogyny and a misogynistic person is. All right, so I know today there's a lot of this thing about men and women are the same. I don't know really what they mean by that, but I got you young people here, and you got more of an idea of that than I do. But when I was growing up, men and women had their roles, and almost even to say that now, it's like, what do you mean they have their roles? It's like, or they know their place. I think a man should know his place as the protector and provider, and the woman should know her place as the nurturer and the supporter of the man and the family. The nurturer, she's more of the relationship part, but those roles have kind of changed, and it seems like if you talk about that, are you zoning out there, Frank? It seems like if you talk about if a man wants a traditional wife, a woman that stays home and cooks and cleans and takes care of the kids, that he wants a slave.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that myself, so I thought maybe y'all could enlighten me on that view today, because I don't see a woman being any more of a slave to a man if she does that than a man is a slave by going out and working and taking care of the bills and paying everything and taking care of the family. By working all day and coming home, he's working for the family, or if you like, he's slaving for the family.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it as more of serving each other. We each serve in our particular way. That's not to say a woman cannot provide for the family, because there are many of them that do that. But in reality, the traditional way seemed to work pretty well. But now we have a lot of different things that people say or think work better, or that the traditional way is worn out or doesn't seem to fit to today's standards. So I thought we would talk about that. The definition of the same is of identical type, not different, or exactly similar. Now we get into equality too, because we have the equal rights thing, and I for sure believe that everybody should have equal rights: men, women, children, and anybody, whatever race, color, creed you are. But I don't believe in equal outcome. You should have the opportunity. If a woman or a man can do the same job equally, they should be paid equally. But if the man can outwork the woman, then he should be paid more because he produces more for the company. So I know sometimes what I've heard and read is they're wanting equal outcome, but unless you put in the equal effort and put out as much production for a company, I don't really understand how they can justify equal outcome or equal pay when they're not putting out the same amount of production as, let's say, the man is. But anyway, I thought we would talk on that tonight. So,
Well, I have something to add to that real quick. So when I went kayaking today, after we got finished, we had to pull the kayaks up this little hill. And the girls were getting hot, and, they were getting worn out, so they went and sat in the car, and the men did all the work. We carried the kayaks, we lifted them up.
as it should be.
Yeah, and we were just, doing everything, but we can handle that more than the women can, because men are more built and geared for being out in the heat, working hard, all kinds of stuff like that. And when we were doing that, they sat in the car, and we just kind of carried the kayaks up, and we were sweating and everything, and at the same time too, they weren't out as much. But the girl that I'm with, she what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. She's tired. She said she feels sick, but she
Really?
wasn't
The
in the
heat,
she wasn't out there as much as I was carrying the kayaks. I'm sunburnt. Like if I showed you behind my shirt, I'm burnt as hell, and everything like that. But she said she feels sick, and one time she told me, she's like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you work and stay up all night and do stuff like that, But
Yeah, in general, men are physically and emotionally stronger than women. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, of course, but who's fought all the wars, who's died for centuries, and who's willingly given up their lives so the women and children could stay safe and survive? The men have done it. Now, there have been women warriors throughout history, but in general, the majority have always been the men who have gone off to wars to fight, to protect, and provide for the women. During World War II, I was reading today about that the women started in the workforce in World War II to support the men so they could go off and fight on the front. So once again, they were supporting there. But sometime between then and maybe in the 60s, when this women's liberation movement started, it's almost like it's caused a lot of problems, I think. There's a confusion about the roles. We have so many different roles, and nobody really knows who is supposed to do what, or there's fighting over that. And we have the feminist movement, and then we have these male incels, which I had no idea what that was. Actually, I had someone comment to me from one of those channels the other day and said that I was, what did they say? Well, anyway, he was kind of a hater, but he didn't like what I said about what my view was on women. Now, of course, this is just my opinion. You guys know I don't hate women. I've been married more than once and been out with a lot of women in my life, and I, of course, don't have a hate for them, but I do believe that, for example, if I'm in my house at night and I'm here with my wife or girlfriend or whatever it happens to be, and a burglar breaks in, I'm not going to tell her that, oh, honey, I went down last week when that noise. So you got to go down
you
now.
do it this time,
And I don't think too many women would argue that point. I mean, so if we were equal or if we were the same, then it wouldn't make any difference who went down. But I believe it's up to the man. If you're walking down the street with your woman and somebody comes up and starts harassing her or harassing you, you're the one that's supposed to stand in front of the assaulter and your woman and protect her. She's not expected to do that, and I don't think she'd feel safe with the man that she had to protect.
Yeah.
It just kind of goes against our human nature or the evolutionary programming that we've received for thousands of years. So,
And that's the thing too, is it's like when you said everybody serves a purpose. Everybody has their role. Women, we can't birth kids. Men can't do that.
exactly.
And the women can, and then men are protectors. I mean, a woman is at her weakest point when she's pregnant. She really can't do much, so it's a man's role to protect her as much as he can, take care of her, whatever
Right.
happens to be. So
Yeah, when she's pregnant and after she's pregnant. What's more
Yeah.
vulnerable than a woman who's just had a baby or that's 9 months pregnant?
yeah,
And then, of course, too, they go to work and then they want maternity leave. They want I mean, so I could see why some employers would not want to hire them because,
Yeah.
especially if they're going to have kids, because they have a choice, of course, now with birth control, to have the children or not. So
Yeah.
if they choose to get, I mean, you can either choose to work or get pregnant and have a family. But so many people now, and I don't particularly like this myself, but they have kids and then they put the kids in daycare and the kids are being raised by
Yeah.
somebody else with their values and you have no idea what they're being raised by.
yeah,
Now, granted, some women are by themselves. They have to work. They have no choice. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who have the 2 Escalades in the drive and the $1 million, $500,000
Yeah.
home, and they're complaining. I've heard them say it before. They're complaining. The wife says, "Well, I wish I didn't have to work." And I'm thinking, well, when I was a kid, we had 2-bedroom homes. Some women didn't have a car, and the mom stayed home with the kids, until they got school age maybe, and then they went to work.
yeah,
So it's what's more valuable, and what are we showing our kids? That money is more valuable than air. We got to have all this stuff. I know in the U.S. here, we have countless storage sheds across the nation that are not full of people moving with their furniture, but are full of stuff that they have because they have so many things they can't fit them in their basement, their 2-car
Yeah.
garage. So we have become a very materialistic society.
exactly.
And we've kind of forgotten what is really valuable, the family and the relationship. The family is like the backbone of the government because the family itself is a form of government.
Yeah,
Like, sorry, like you say all the time, I feel like half the reason why people think that women and men are equal, or well, they are equal. Just, I think the reason why people think that a girl can do what a guy can do when it comes to working or when it comes to like anything else is because of the movies that come out. It's like
Yeah.
they see it on TV, so that's what they think reality is when it really isn't, because they just sit around, watch TV, and think, oh well, since that's how it is in the movie, that's how it should be in real life. But a lot of people know that things in movies aren't real, obviously, because lions can't talk. So
They can't? Oh, man.
so like in the Lion, obviously there's movies that are real, but mainly all of them that are put out there are fake. So like a lot of these guys or girls see on TV these girls get into an argument with their boyfriend, and then because he wasn't defending her, and then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to take classes and do this and do that.
Yeah, she-
and then
yeah.
she all of a sudden becomes this like cool boxer and can do whatever she wants, anything she can put her mind to. Like she can be like a man, and she
Right.
doesn't need a man to protect her or anything. But pretty much I think that men need women and women need men.
I agree.
Because without men and without women, if there was one without the other, we'd basically go extinct.
Yeah, yeah,
so.
Yeah. The thing about that is that I don't personally feel like they're equal because of the fact that a big portion of sports that are played, whether it's football or whether it's boxing, it's a lot of men, and you see that men get beaten the crap out of. And the thing is that they have football for women and they have boxing for women, but you don't see the women getting nowhere near beat up as the men do. Like,
And like
men are a lot tougher.
half the things that like women try to play that men play is they had to lower the standards for them because they're not like
built for stuff.
yeah,
like that.
built
they're
for
just-
like
yeah.
same with the army, like they had to lower the standards so women could join
It's
because
like
they
the,
weren't built for the
Right.
It's like the WNBA. Like if you're comparing it to something like women play basketball and men play basketball, but the rules are not
Right.
half the time they're slightly different, but at the same time they're really different. So like girls are obviously petty. So in a girls' basketball game, girls
She said
will like
that I didn't.
girls will like shove each other and like throw each other on the ground, or like they'll literally sit there and fight over the ball. I know because I've played basketball.
Well, in all
before.
fairness, I have seen guys do that too. So.
Yeah, but when the girls do it, it's a lot different. But when the guys do it, it's like it's just the rules on the WNBA and regular NBA for the guys is obviously different because the girls think that they can be like the guys, but they have to lower their standards.
Yeah,
like
another
I
thing
said.
too is it's like you said that too. You said this in different podcasts and everything like that. men are more like goal driven. You know, they like have goals
Right.
and you know they want to chase their dreams. And more women are usually more driven towards having a family.
Right.
Like that's what brings them satisfaction.
Naturally, yeah.
And that's usually what women want. And the thing is too is like you take an average man and an average woman and you put them to work, and the average man is probably going to be able to work about maybe 10 more hours than the woman could a week. But
Right.
because what happens is women get tired, they can't keep up. You know, it's
Yeah.
like so.
And it's not like you can stop that. That's kind of just how girls are. They
Yeah.
get tired a lot more easier than guys do. So
Yeah, that's
they're-
why if like, you know, the reason like there's different like WNBA and the NBA is if you put both men and women together, obviously, you know, men are harder workers than women.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wouldn't be as equal as if you just split them
Yeah,
up.
because then the other team's like, no, I don't want to hurt her. It's like if a girl plays football, they're like,
Right.
it's kind of an advantage for a football team mainly because the other team's like, oh, I don't want to tackle her, like I don't want to do that. But there's
But then you have a couple guys just want to knock the heck out of her because she is a girl too. But
Yeah.
in general, a lot of guys are afraid to hurt her. They don't want to tackle her like a man. or
Yeah,
a
and
guy.
like it's
Yeah.
like if I played football and there was a girl on the other team, I would see her as a man, and I'd tackle her like I would a man.
Well, you don't almost have to
because-
because she's gonna do the same to you.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
gets the
exactly,
opportunity.
yeah.
And the thing is
So-
too, when I was playing 7th grade football, there was this one girl who was playing on our team, and this one of our fullbacks ran at her as fast as he could, and he hit her, and all his momentum went to her. He played he played sports since he was a little kid,
Yeah.
so he knew how to tackle without, or he knew how to hit people without hurting himself.
Yeah.
So he hit her, and she like straight bounced off of him, and she fell to the ground. And the next day she quit because she just couldn't. I mean, he straight ran
Right.
at her like that.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, if the woman had done it to the man, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have
probably
faced them
wouldn't,
as bad.
and mainly girls who play like football or guy sports, they'll play them and then they're not gonna like continue to play the sport. They're just doing it, I guess, for the fun of it. But usually the reason why people play football is because they want to have a career in it, and the reason why they go throughout football through middle school
Yeah.
and high school is because they want to continue to play it. But the minute the girl doesn't get what she wants in the game, or the minute that she gets hurt, and she automatically thinks that she can't play,
Right.
so she completely gives up. Other guys, on the other hand, they get pushed to do it, and they push themselves to do it because they're stronger than females.
Yeah,
They
and
just have a different type of drive.
yeah, and I was gonna say another thing too is it's like shoot, lost my train of thought again. Anyway, continue. I had something really good to say too.
That's all I was gonna say.
Frank?
See, look, all right. So, I mean, I agree with the point that like girls should be, you know, paid as much as men are, right? But the thing is, like, they're not gonna work as hard as men do. So obviously, the men are gonna get paid more. And if the girl doesn't get paid what the man does, she's gonna complain. Be like, well,
Sometimes.
why am
Start
I
a
not getting
riot.
paid
That's
the same
how
as
how
him?
movies are. It's like, okay, well, I'm not getting paid the same amount, so I'm gonna dress up as a guy and act like a guy. Or I'm a girl and he's a guy, and I might not work as hard as him, but I still need to get paid as much as he does.
Yeah.
Oh, I had seen this video on Instagram of this professional soccer player, and he was going up against, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12
Oh,
of the
yeah.
soccer players that were women, and he was just going left and right, going right through them and
That's-
scored a
yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
And another thing is, you know, there's been people playing softball over at the field. When you look at it, if a person played baseball, they don't put that net around. There's a net because
yeah, they had
women.
a net, yeah.
The thing is that if a baseball player, if he hits what they call a
Oh.
dinger, a home run.
Okay, it's their home run
Yeah,
goal
our
is
home
shorter.
Run, yeah,
Yeah,
our
it's
home
shorter.
run is
And plus, their
400
balls,
plus feet, but theirs is like
It's 150.
200
Yeah.
foot.
It's like 250 to
softballs are a lot
300.
softer and they're a lot bigger because girls softball and baseball.
They
isn't-
also
it's
wear
at
the
same-
mouth guards.
They
so-
wear they wear the mouth
Yeah,
guards.
the
The
guys
guys don't do
don't,
that.
yeah.
The guys, like the only time you guys wear helmets is if you're a catcher.
No, if we bat, like if we catch and like we're batting or something, we'll wear like protective gear for catching
Yeah,
because
but
people men throw faster than women
And
do.
hard balls are much harder than softballs.
Yeah, and yeah, because all right. So I mean, personally, if I was at that field and I threw a baseball up with one of my hands and I hit it, it would definitely go over that fence, like easily over the girls' fence. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm getting pitched to by a man and he throws it to me and I hit it, it's not going to go as far because he throws faster than a woman does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying there's not girls out there that can overhand it over 100 miles an hour, but
Right.
like,
Well,
I-
another thing too I was gonna add is nowadays I mean I could a lot of men are weak, like they're not as strong as they should be,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
and like
Snowflakes.
to comparison, there's probably women feel stronger because of the weaker men. You know,
Yes, yeah.
they feel like they're and to a degree they are stronger than the
Men
men.
aren't fulfilling their
Yeah.
roles these days like they used to. I don't believe.
I mean, that's the thing is it's like I could see why women could feel like they're equal because you take some guy who's I don't know 40 years old, he's been drinking beer, you know, like works half days or whatever like that, and you take a girl who's I don't know in pretty good shape, she could outrun him, outwork out him, you know,
Yeah.
everything like that. So
I've seen a lot of these guys in the city more so down there. I'll shake their hands, these younger men, and their hands are soft like a woman because they don't get out and do anything like we did when we were kids. They don't play in the dirt. I guess they sit behind computers all day or something. They don't, and that's kind of a thing that makes men different. Is and a lot of young men are being raised without a masculine role model too. So a lot of them act feminine. I can see a lot of men, or young men, or teenagers even. The way they walk and their movements are even feminine. So I guess I could see where women would think that they were equal or stronger because maybe they are with some of those type of men.
yeah, well, there was this one kid that opponent was telling me about that he had texted her and was like, so you're not gonna answer me? Why aren't you texting me? I seen your Snap score go up, and your Snap score is like you can go to click on hold somebody's name, and if their Snap score goes up, that means they're texting other people.
Oh.
And
But, like, that's very feminine,
I was
you
trying
know?
to hint to him that like I wasn't attracted to him anymore.
Yeah.
I told him multiple times I wasn't attracted to him, and then I told him he was like, "Do you want to FaceTime?" I was like, "I don't know. I might be leaving with my dad because we were gonna go to the store." And he texted me and he was like, "So did you go to the store?" Still didn't answer him. There's this thing called half swiping where you can half swipe it and you can still see
Yeah, I
their
don't know anything
message.
about
You can still see their
Snapchat.
message, but they don't know that you see it. So
Right.
I usually half swipe. So I half swiped, and he goes, "I saw your Snap score go up. It's funny how you can answer other people, but you can't answer me." And I was like,
But you
"So we're checking each other's Snap scores now." I
But you
didn't-
have to like go out of your way to check, and like
Yeah.
your Snap score can go up if somebody sends you like a streak back. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have to be
Yeah.
texting anybody
Yeah,
for your
and then
Snap score to go up.
another thing is the only reason why that person would know that my Snap score went up is because they would have checked it more than once to see what it was before.
Yeah.
To go out of
Because
the way
like,
twice.
say it was
Yeah.
like
Stalking you.
say it was like 304 and he knew it was 304 and he went back and it was 313, he'd be like, "Oh, how many people have you texted it?" And it's
Yeah, but you gotta think about that. It's like that's very feminine. That's something like a girl would do. I've had
Yeah.
girls do that to me. It's like, oh, so you can text. I seen your Snap score go up, but you can text other girls, but you can't text me.
Yeah.
And it's like, as a guy, you shouldn't do that. You know, it's like it's
Or if
pretty
you do
much.
it, if you do it, don't tell her you do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you
Yeah.
could check it, you know what I'm saying, but don't go based on your feelings and be like, oh, so you can text other guys, but you can't text me. That's
Yeah.
very feminine. That's insecure. You're being insecure as hell. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like there's a move against masculinity. I mean, we've
Yeah.
all heard the term, or most of us have heard the term toxic masculinity. Like there's
Yeah.
something wrong with. Well, here's the way I look at that. If there is such a thing, it's just a word, the toxic masculinity. They're always coming up with new words. If it weren't for toxic masculinity, when I think of that word, I think about being in a war and having to shoot a kid or a woman with a kid because they're wired with a grenade or
Yeah.
something. I know I could do that. Now, living with that would be tough, but for a woman to do that, that would be awful hard. I mean, we don't have any women that are Navy SEALs or Green Beret, and there's a reason for that. Now, some women may argue and say, well, that's because we weren't allowed in there. They couldn't do the I don't think I could do the training.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to even try it. But the point is, men are just different physically. But it doesn't make a woman less because, like we said, us men here, we can't have a baby. I don't feel belittled because they can and they can nurture children
Yeah.
better than I can. I don't feel like I'm less than because they can do something I can't. But it seems like that whenever men talk about being stronger
Yeah.
or better in certain things, it doesn't mean that I think we're all equal as human beings in the eyes of God or divinity, whatever you choose to believe in. But we're not equal in the playing field of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why men have dominated the field of, let's say, finances because they're the ones that'll put in 70 or 80 hours
Yep.
a week. Women are just not, there are some, I'm sure, but motivated in that direction
Yeah.
to do those kinds of things, to put that in. They're just not goal driven in that like men are.
Yeah. Another thing about that is if women go into the army and all that sort of stuff, if there's 5 of you and one of you has a bomb, and all of a sudden, like, because you don't see it coming. If a man is, if one of your, you know, allies has a bomb, and they rip open their jacket and they have it, and they need you to
No,
take
that
it
would
off.
be your enemy that did that. If you were, who's got the bomb? The ally.
Well,
Well,
if a
the
person
ally,
gets
because you know, they don't-
planted with the
like,
bomb.
let's say for example, he didn't know he had the bomb
Oh, okay.
planted.
Uh-huh.
Until, like, yeah. Well, anyways, if a woman gets put in that position and she doesn't know, she doesn't find out about it until she sees it. Once she's put on the spot, she doesn't know what to do. It's like, are you willing to have all your friends die, or are you willing to sacrifice
Oh,
that one person?
yeah.
Because she's
So
more,
that-
she's
yeah.
more
Well, and that's the
emotional.
thing too. Is
she's
it's like
Yeah.
a lot of things, like in the army, it's like if they see a grenade and there's a group of them around, a guy will jump on the grenade. and
Somebody
it's-
will,
Yeah.
yeah.
they'll jump on it and get their life taken just so everybody else can survive. You know.
Uh-huh.
What the difference between a man and a woman is, the woman would probably just sit in the corner and cry about it.
Yeah,
Or
that's
run
Same
away.
with
Run
like
away.
let's say there was like
Now,
a
you
like
probably
a-
just pissed the women off.
let's say there was like a
man,
mine.
You
gotta be quick with
misogynist
the
pig.
decisions.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, like let's say there was like a mine on the floor, right? And you couldn't see it, and she stepped on it, and her allies were all around her. She would immediately freak out and then just be
Well,
like,
that's the thing.
"Oh my
It's
God,"
not like
and
the
start
movies
running
though. If you
around.
step on it, it's instant boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
it's
like, you don't take your foot off and it triggers it.
Yeah, the movies
Yeah,
take
and
the
it's
reality
like
out of life.
if it were like that, the woman would start freaking out and like immediately take her foot off and just kill
Now
everybody.
that goes to say though too is it's like there's a lot of men who couldn't handle this stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not just women. Like especially nowadays. Back in your day, most men could handle something like that. They would jump on the grenade or they would get their life taken because they're trying to protect everybody around them. But nowadays it's different because a lot of these guys are raised by women, so they don't know how to be a man. You know, they don't know how to sacrifice
Well,
themselves.
Henry, remember what our client this week was telling us? He was in the Marines, and what they used to,
yeah.
the guy would get up and yell in his face, and he'd step on their backs. And
He
what else
will.
did
They would
do?
because what they would be. He was in the Marines, and they would be like this close together, and he would have them lay down, lay down flat, but there was not enough room for all of them to lay down. And if their legs were sticking up, he'd come up and jump on them,
Yeah.
and like to make their legs go flat and
Right.
everything. And he even said one time they were doing a march, and this guy dropped his gun or something like that, and he picked it up, and the what is it, the DI, the drill instructor,
Drill instructor.
he hit the gun and the
broke
sight,
his-
and
yeah.
the sight hit him and it stuck in his forehead,
Went in his
split his head
forehead,
open.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also said that several or quite a few of the soldiers got medical release because
yeah.
of the abuse that they would call it. But here's the deal: those guys are getting ready to go into war. They were getting ready to go to
Yeah.
Vietnam. I mean, if they can't take that, he's saving their life.
Yeah.
But nowadays, what do they say? Now they have a card they can hold up if the
Yeah.
drill instructor's being too tough. I can't take it anymore. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? You hold a card up to the enemy, they're just going to blow your brains out.
Yeah.
Cut or stick you with a knife. So
Exactly.
I mean, as crude as it sounds, and I know a lot of people don't see it that way, the drill instructor is saving their life.
Exactly.
It's the same as with children. I mean, if you tell your kid not to go out in the street and they keep doing it, you may take a paddle to that kid's butt. And a lot of people think that's abuse, but you're giving that child a little bit of pain to save him from getting killed later on down the
Yeah,
road. I mean,
exactly.
sometimes, and that's what the drill instructors do. They're trying to save.
and another thing too is like just like paddling your kid for misbehaving or disrespecting you. Like let's say he does that to a cop and then he starts getting aggressive with the police, the cop might shoot him. It's
Yeah.
the same exact thing. It's just like you're saving him from something worse.
Right.
I think it's stupid because a lot of women think that that's abuse. It's not.
A lot,
Abuse
a lot
is
of
when
men too. A lot of women and
abuse
men.
is when
Yeah.
you're beating your children down, like when they're on the ground and you were just beating
just
the
keep-
crap
yeah.
out of
I
them.
tell you what, when I was a kid, I got my butt whipped with a belt and had black and blue red marks on my legs many times, as did the neighbor kids. And that didn't bother me near as bad as the things my father said to me.
Yeah.
And I remember those things, and those the words hurt me worse than that. But he did the best he could. I'm not bad mouthing him. That's just the way it was back
Yeah.
then. So, but I'll say this: it didn't keep me from doing things wrong, but I did have a fear and a respect to the police.
Yep.
I would, if a cop ever pulled a gun on me or whatever they told me to do, I did it. Now sometimes I would run my mouth, 'cause I had
Yeah.
a mouth. But like out here one day, I got into it with him because
Yeah.
I wanted to get out of the car and he wouldn't let me get out of the car. It's like he told me he's going to take me to jail. But now we've seen on the news where a lot of people would just walk away.
Yeah.
I mean, and they got a gun pulled on them. So, I mean, if a cop ever when a cop comes up to my car, I don't move.
Yeah.
I put my hands on the wheel because I know
Mhm.
they're afraid. and I don't want to get shot.
Well, they're
So-
human too. Yeah, it's like
they're
they have-
human.
yeah.
They never know if some guy's gonna have a gun or whatever.
Yeah.
But I see some of these people that have got shot on the news, and then they make a big deal out of it, but they wouldn't submit
Yeah.
to the authority of the policeman. I
Exactly.
believe that's directly linked to they never had a masculine figure, and they never submitted to the authority of their
Yeah.
father or whatever happens to be, and then that's what happens. I'm not saying the shootings are right or wrong, but what I'm saying is when a policeman tells you to stop and he's got a gun pointed on you, you need to freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about it is how your dad raised you. You know, he raised you to be emotionally strong, but now a lot of men are emotionally weak.
Yeah,
like,
they
Mainly
can't.
because they don't have dads around. It's usually
Yeah.
just the mom.
Another thing about it is that women aren't made as emotionally strong as men are. So the thing is, when a kid is raised by a woman, and some guy ends up walking up to him about to kick the crap out of him, he freaks out like he's about to cry.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is it's like when a kid is raised by a woman, it's harder for her to discipline him for one because she feels for the kid. Maybe he doesn't have a father. Maybe she feels bad for him. But at the same time too, the kid gets to a certain age where he knows his mom's not gonna be able to have the strength to whoop him anymore.
Mhm.
So he starts running his mouth, or he might push her. He might end up
Right.
hitting her himself. So they're not worried. They're not scared about it, and that's
Yeah.
what
Right.
leads up to them being disrespectful to the police because they think that if they can take on their parent, they can take on anybody else.
Well,
Yeah,
the parent
because nowadays, whenever kids have moms and they run their mouth, all they do is they get grounded or they're not
Or they
allowed
get
to
their
leave.
phone
Well,
taken.
or they
Paulina,
get their
you
phone
said
taken.
you've seen teenage kids talk to their mom like
Yeah.
a dog.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
it's really bad. Like, I get like if you argue with your mom and it's like I guess you could say a reasonable argument, but there's no reason why a guy should disrespect his mom like that because if somebody else disrespected his mom that way, he would get mad. Or if he had a kid and then he had a grandkid, he wouldn't want. It's like the guy will disrespect his mom as much as he wants, but he wouldn't want anybody else to do it to her, or he
Right.
wouldn't want to do it to
Well,
any
and
other
yeah,
female.
like take that into comparison. It's like, let's say we had mom here, and I disrespected her, and I shoved her. She probably wouldn't. She might not even do anything to me. I could hold her back or whatever. But if I
Yeah.
do that to you, I might get slapped. I might get punched or something. Whatever happens to be. If I shoved you,
Yeah.
I'm like, and then. But that's the thing. It's just like, that's one of the reasons why I respect authority nowadays, and I'm respectful to police because growing up, I knew that if I disrespected you or I put my hands on you, I might get paddled or
Yeah.
punished for it.
Well, I know when I grew up, like my father, I would never say anything like I wouldn't even think of saying anything like that to my mother
Yeah.
because I know. Wait till your dad gets home, and boy, I
Uh-huh.
didn't want to do that. I mean, I respected my father. I had a healthy fear of him. Like I said, it didn't keep me from doing things wrong, but I was afraid of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
and
That-
I never even thought about. Go ahead, Braden.
That's the problem with social media nowadays. Like some people will tell you, more act stronger towards other people,
Yeah.
and then the other side of the media is like no, be polite, and then whenever it comes down to being respectful to your parents, you try to act big and tough with your dad, you're gonna get slapped
Yeah.
or you're gonna get beat. But whenever it comes to your mother, she leaves it to the father, and
If you have somebody like if you have a father figure and a mother figure, you're gonna be more respectful to your mom because you know your dad might punish you.
Right.
But if it's just like I said earlier, if it's just your mom, you might end up. I mean, I was watching this one thing back in 2000 or something like that, and this one kid smacked his mom because she didn't let him talk. He goes,
Oh,
you know that
on
video?
Dr.
Yeah,
Phil. It was
yeah.
on Dr. Phil. This
Oh, yeah.
He smacks her and he's like, let me speak.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know how, like maybe like
he
10.
was
he was
yeah,
like
he was maybe
13.
he was like 9 or 10, and his mom
Yeah.
literally just sat back.
Yeah, she didn't do anything. She
didn't
just
do
sat
anything.
back.
She literally just sat back, and she didn't.
They were
even say
arguing and
anything.
everything.
See,
and-
now I can see kids like that growing up misogynistic and having
Yeah.
no respect for women and treating women badly because they grew up being allowed to treat their mother badly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and another thing about that is, let's say for example that happened, the dad was there. Well, he would slap the crap out of that kid
Yeah.
right then and there.
Or whoop him or something.
But
you
then
know?
again, a lot of men are afraid to do that because of the Division of
Yeah.
Family Services, and that's considered abuse. But I'm not sure where you draw the line. If your kid gets up and I never did. But I see my dad slap my brother upside the head one time, and I didn't want any part of that because my brother got smart with him. But
Yeah.
a lot of the men are afraid now. They're afraid to be men. Now, I'm not saying you should beat your kids, but if your teenage son comes home and gets up in your face and starts pushing or grabs a hold of you doing something, I mean, you need to do something as a
Yeah.
father. Otherwise, that son's going to be running the house. And I
Yeah.
don't think he's emotionally mature enough to run the household yet.
And that's the thing too, is it's like it's difficult for men to be able to whip their children because, like you said, they would get in trouble. But the thing is, they ground them and do stuff like that. But they could get up and walk out. They could get up, take the phone out of your hand.
What are they going to do?
Like, what are you going to do about it? Kind of, you
Yeah.
know, that's kind of, it's like they will push you to end up having to whoop them or something, you know?
Well, because they want to see if you are as a father, they want to see you. Do you love me enough to keep me from destroying my life?
And that's the thing. If as a man, if you don't take some sort of action or punish your kid, they end up building some sort of resentment against you.
yeah,
Because you like,
don't.
yeah, I've seen that happen. I've seen it multiple times.
I don't know. People don't understand how that is, but I've had 8 kids, so I haven't.
Yeah.
I've experienced.
Well, you
that.
remember that
lot
one
of
kid that we used to tell you about? He'd tell his dad, he'd be like, "Shut up, old man."
Yeah,
He'd
I
be like,
could-
and his dad wouldn't buy him what he wanted, so he's like, "Shut up." Oh my God. He's like, "You pissed me off." And his dad ended up buying him what he wanted. And like, it
See,
just
I don't
continued more and
understand
more
that.
disrespect,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's like,
and I don't think you're doing your kids any favor by allowing them to treat you like that because you're telling them that authority doesn't mean anything. So then they don't want to submit to the police or
Yeah.
the government or anybody. And we all have to submit. I mean, we do. I mean, by me submitting to the government of the United States and the local government, I have protection. I can call the police. They can come. We called the police the other night because some woman was threatening to burn our house down, and
Yeah.
they took her away. I didn't have to deal with that myself. They took care of it. So by me submitting to the authorities, I have protection. I have roads. I have I have water. I have electricity. All these things are the infrastructures put
Yeah.
together by the government and private organizations.
well, another thing too is like back to the main topic about how, like, you know, women and men aren't, they're not the same. You know what I'm saying? They have their own, you know, strengths and weaknesses. So do men, you know. It's like, you know how you wrote your books and everything like that. I don't know a lot of women. I don't know any women personally that could write a book and have gone through the adventures that you have in this book right here. I don't know how women. I don't think any woman could have gone through all the stuff you went through that you put in the story and been okay. You know, but kind of warm here.
Well, and that was one of the I said something to this guy. I was talking to him on the messages in the on some video. I said something to him about, I said, I raised these kids by myself. I don't want to get financial aid, et cetera, et cetera. And he came back and said, what did he say? He said, he said, what do you just did what a father's supposed to do? He says, what do you want, a medal? He said, you're a real snowflake or something like. I'm thinking, I'm trying to make a point here that a woman would have a difficult time doing that because I don't think she would have the emotional strength. I mean, I get up in the morning from 6 until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I don't stop.
Yeah.
Maybe one day a week I'm exhausted and I have to lay down 4 hours to get back together. But I know some women that just have a kid or two and it about drives them crazy. But to have 6, you know, yes, it's what I should do as a father because your mother's not here. But the point is, I'm saying that most women wouldn't have the emotional strength and the physical strength to be able to do that for how long? 9
Yeah.
or 10 years that it's been.
Well, yeah, and that's the
I'm
thing.
not bragging. I'm just stating a fact.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Yeah.
like you've done a really good job raising all of us, you know, as a father. And on top of that, you stay busy. You know, you have your own business and everything like that. You've written books and stuff like that. And I don't know if a woman could do that. You know, could do all this stuff and have kids and try to be a leader, you know, and everything like that. Write books, take care of the business. You know, I don't know if a woman
Well,
could.
they're just not driven to do that. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't exceptions to the rule, but in general, and I'm not necessarily, for me too, to be, when you guys were younger, to nurture you.
Yeah.
I could see where I fell very short on that as compared to if a
Yeah.
woman were here to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you guys, for example, one of you, like Kevin or somebody, he's crying, comes up, says you guys been picking on him. And I'm like, geez. I tell him, okay, what did you do? What did
Yeah.
you do to bring this on? Now, see, I'm a man, so I'm trying to get him to take responsibility and accountability.
Yeah.
What did you do to bring this on? That's where a woman would pick him up, give him a hug, and say, oh, it's okay, honey. Now, I did that a few times, but it was unnatural for me. It
Yeah.
was very mechanical. And a woman is just better at that. I mean, so do I feel like I'm less than? No, I don't. I'm different than a woman.
Yeah.
That's something she can
Yeah,
do.
that's- yeah.
But I'm
That's
not
the thing.
good
Is
at.
it's like women, they're really good at, you know, taking care of kids and just loving them and nurturing them. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to have an even balance. You know, sometimes it's difficult. Even for me personally,
That's what Henry
I
was talking
I
about.
struggle with
If you play it, you can hear it.
I struggle with sometimes sometimes I miss my mom. Sometimes I want her to be around. I have hard times. Sometimes I can't. I talk to you guys and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but still, you want to have somebody to, like, hold you.
Yeah.
It's just like, and
I know you guys miss out on that.
yeah, and that's the thing is, it's like, I know I probably still have some sort of, like, issues with that, but it's just like, if you don't have a good balance of both, it's it kind
Yeah.
of throws you off.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, when we talk about women, we're not, I mean,
Uh-uh.
it's not, okay, if I'm saying a woman can't do the same job as a man on a construction site, I'm not belittling women. I'll say the same thing. And a man, just like me, cannot nurture you guys like a woman can. So I don't know why the anger I see sometimes on some
Yeah.
of the women's circles about,
It's just the facts. It's just really the facts. It's like that's
Yeah.
just how it is, and it doesn't make women less than men.
no, it doesn't.
And
Not
it
at
doesn't
all.
make the men less than the women either. That they can do their I guess their job or what their roles
Right,
they're supposed to play.
right.
And shoot, I lost my
Oh,
train of
cool.
thought.
Whenever I used to be in wrestling, one time I had to wrestle a girl the same weight as me, and the funny thing about it is, whenever I would practice wrestling against women, like you could just tell there was a huge like strength difference between men and women. I still remember that one time I was wrestling a girl and I ended up beating her, and I got in trouble by the coach because I jumped up and I was like, "Let's go!"
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Why did he get
Um,
mad? Why'd you
Probably
get
because
because
well,
what you're supposed to do is so there's two lines and you put your your least dominant foot, and then you after you shake your
oh,
hands
so
and
you
then you
were,
wrestle.
you were out of the line?
Oh no! After you win, you're supposed to put your foot back on the line and shake their hand.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
Yeah.
You didn't do that.
No, I ended up jumping and cheering. But
you
the
were
thing is that
let's go.
yeah, the thing is that and another good example about that is a lot of men, like, they're starting to be snowflakes. They're starting to be a lot weaker because he was playing up against these two kids last night in basketball, and he was going up against three. Two were guys and one was girl, and the score was what, 12-2 or
It
something
was like
like
12
that?
to 2.
Yeah.
Taking it a little easy on them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they were going easy, and they even had a girl on their team. And the thing was that, that goes to show that, like, men are starting to become a lot more weaker.
Yeah.
Because if they were like they were back in the day, man, they would try. They'd really try,
Yeah.
and they'd try to beat him. But
Yeah.
score was pretty
definitely.
But like back to what we were talking to, I just don't understand how. I think the main reason why guys think that they can disrespect their moms the way that they do, is not only because they don't have a father around, is because they see it on TV.
Yeah,
They see
I
like
don't watch TV, so I
they
don't
see
know.
they see like these kids running away from home, and then they come back and their mom's like, "Oh, I miss you." But in reality, if they had a dad, they would get in trouble when they got back home. But like how it is in the movies and kind of how it is now a little bit is like the guy will run away and then he'll come back and the mom will be like, "Oh, I missed you. Like, don't ever scare me like that again." But like that's not how it's supposed to be. Like obviously you missed your kid because they
Right.
went missing, but still like you should get in trouble for that. But
Like,
now
what did you do to
Punished,
stop
yeah.
that from happening?
So it's like it's I think it's stupid.
Well, I know on TV, I've seen a few clips of movies and different things. Even though I don't watch TV, where you got this 120-pound woman, like a movie preview. Is that what it's called? A preview?
Our trailer, yeah.
Trailer, okay. And she's this secret agent, and she's going up against these Russian guys, 220 pounds.
Yeah,
These-
she's flipping them
and
back.
she's knocking them out. I mean, it's like, but of course, if movies were reality, it'd be boring. But
Yeah.
I think kids growing up and watching that stuff, and then too, like we talk about the men becoming more feminine and not as weak or not as strong. I mean, as they used to be, because now it's like, they go from now, like in school, if it's too hot, they don't go to school. Sometimes it's too hot or cold. Cold. If it's too
Yeah,
cold,
too
they
cold,
don't go.
yeah.
And they go from air conditioner to heat, and there's no we're so comfortable here in the U.S. that the men have become weak, and the women maybe don't feel. I think a lot of it has to do with the men. The men are not fulfilling their role,
Yeah.
and the women are afraid, so they're actually taking on the roles of men.
They're
Because the
taking
men are
masculine
not
roles,
doing their
yeah.
job. I don't blame the women.
Yeah.
The men are not leading like they're supposed to do with their strength and their masculinity. And so the women have a fear, so they have to start taking
Yeah.
on masculine roles.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, another thing about it is that how do I explain this? Women are a lot. I don't want to say like softer, but
Well, they're more emotionally
yeah
connected,
Yeah, and another thing about it is like physically, I feel like they're a bit softer because if you punch a woman in the arm, they bruise easily. But
Yeah, that's another
if you
thing
punch
too,
a man
yeah.
in the arm, they don't bruise as easily. Not to mention that whenever
Yeah, let's find out. Let's
Yeah,
put
let's
it to
find
the
yeah.
out.
test.
And then we'll punch you.
whenever a woman, like if she has her own company or something, she has to work several hours. It starts taking effect on her looks. Like they start getting wrinkles.
Yeah,
and all
that's
that.
another thing.
But a man could control his company like for hours and hours,
Yeah.
way more hours than a
And
woman.
it'll still affect them, but and like just it's just the same thing too. It's like when women party,
I was
When they
thinking
go out,
the
yeah,
same thing. I've
when they
seen
go
it
out and
many
party,
times, yeah.
a guy could party for 5-6 years, and maybe you could see a little bit of difference in him. Maybe he looks a little bit drained. A woman does that, they look like
Yeah.
really bad.
And
I've
I
seen.
don't know why, but it's common. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
tears them down.
yeah, it really takes a lot out of them, and
Yeah.
it's just like there's that thing. You know how women have beauty sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
Can't.
they need that, they need that rest,
Right.
like to, regenerate,
Right.
and everything like that.
Well,
And
they just can't take the abuse that men can take and and come back. And we got a cat who wants to join the podcast.
Say hi.
Yeah, not only that, but what was I gonna say? Oh, if you look at the body build between a man and a woman, the thing is, the reason the man is built different from the woman is because the man is supposed to be the protector. He's supposed to provide and protect
Right.
the woman. That's why women are built like women aren't built with a whole bunch of muscle. They're not. They're not built.
And that goes back to like like war times, like the beginning of time, and like you see men like teaching, training the army, but if that's what the more successful armies. You don't see women training the men.
Yeah, well,
Uh-huh.
another thing, speaking of which, it takes a lot more workout and more for women to build muscle, to have abs and stuff like that,
Right.
compared to men. Like, men can do it, like, let's say, a guy could get a really good physique in a couple years if he worked out every single day, but a woman, it takes more time. And I think really because that is 'cause biology, or like biologically, a guy is meant to be in shape to take care of the woman, and the woman's supposed to birth the kids, take care of them, and the guy is the
Yeah,
provider.
for thousands of years.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
the way
been like that,
It's just
yeah.
that our society today, the men have made it so safe
Mm-hmm.
that women don't really think they need the protection of a man, when in
Yeah.
reality they do. Let's have a ground invasion from the
Exactly.
Chinese, let's say, and then the women are going to be looking for a masculine man, wishing they
the
had.
toxic
Yeah,
masculinity.
the toxic masculinity, because you're going to have toxic masculinity to survive in such a situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and another thing is like a guy, like if you're in the army or whatever, a guy can get like hit in the chest and it won't hurt him. But the minute the girl gets a lightly tap, she freaks out and
Well,
starts crying.
yeah, and they have they have
Yeah.
breasts. It hurts them. It's
Yeah.
damaged. And like, you ever heard how if a woman gets hit in the breast, it hurts them?
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
that.
that's another thing
Yeah.
too. Is it's like if a guy gets hit in the chest, it doesn't. It really. I mean,
Yeah.
it won't hurt as bad as
Yeah.
supposedly. I don't know. I don't have breasts. So.
Yeah, and the
Paul,
thing
you
is,
want to enlighten us on that?
yeah. I don't know.
I've heard that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does hurt obviously because it's kind of like a guy getting kicked in the balls.
Yeah, well, that's
So
what I thought.
I'm not
I've
gonna
been-
compare the two
I've
because
been
then that's gonna
told
start a
that,
whole
yeah.
argument.
No.
I'm not gonna compare and be like this hurts more than this because
Now,
then
that's
it's
another
gonna turn
fallacy
into an
too, though, that
argument.
they show this on TV where these women or somebody will hit a man, in the
In the-
testicles,
yeah.
and they just fall down. That's not necessarily true, because I've been hit there extremely hard to where the next
I-
day I was black and
Yeah.
blue, and it didn't stop me.
Personally, for me,
It
in my
hurts.
opinion, it hurts more when someone lightly taps
Yeah, when you just get tapped
Yeah,
there, yeah.
than if
Yeah.
someone went bah,
Yeah.
and hit you.
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I don't know if I got kicked there or something. I think I got kicked there by somebody. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurt, but it didn't stop me. The next day I was all black.
yeah,
It was a hard blow, but it didn't stop me.
Yeah.
yeah. One thing I was gonna say is, if you throw a football at a guy, obviously if he doesn't catch it, he's gonna jam his fingers and he'll be fine. Like obviously it's gonna hurt, but if you throw a football to a woman and it jams her fingers, she's probably gonna be.
Well,
crying.
yeah, then that's the thing. It's like, and another thing too is it's like women have their looks. They're
Yeah.
pretty. They're
Yeah.
and guys are attracted to that. The looks and everything like that. It's not. I mean, obviously a girl likes a good looking guy, but for the most part, a girl will go with a guy that's more masculine, more. He seems like a leader.
Mhm.
He's gonna, she's gonna follow him, and as
Yeah.
long as he can be masculine, like I said. But that's the thing. It's just like women and men are just built different. They're just
Yeah.
built different, and that's
They're
okay. There's nothing
different.
wrong with that.
Yeah, we need the polarity, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you need the masculine and the feminine, both roles. You need
But it's
both of
almost
them.
like today, it's considered a weakness for a woman to be feminine.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great strength. If you look throughout history, Look how many women have been behind great men, and also look how many women, for example, Cleopatra, drugged Mark Antony down.
Yeah.
Napoleon was drugged down by a woman too because he allowed it to happen. He got away from his wife, and I think he got a mistress.
Yeah.
And so women have a lot of power, but
Yeah.
it's not in physical strength. It's a different type of power.
Yeah.
Women are much more intuitive in general than
Yeah.
men are. And they just, because for centuries, thousands of years, they've had to learn how to survive with their wits.
Yeah.
As where men, two guys get into a disagreement, they can fight out and kill
Yeah,
each
with
other.
their strength. Yeah.
But the women have to be much more conniving or
Yeah.
intelligent, if you want to say it, or intuitive.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like
Manipulative, however you want to say it.
yeah,
So it's-
women they have a good strength. They have really good strength too when it comes to like their knowing what to do. It's like nowadays women know how to text guys and find the one that they want that's going to take care of
they
them.
can
and-
read character. And
exactly.
know you
like,
know,
and that's the thing is it's like you could fake being over text. You could fake being this type of person, but the moment you guys hang out, they pick up. Even if you're still acting like that, you're some
Right.
sort of person. They pick up on that. They're very intuitive, like you said.
more so than men. So
Yeah.
once again, there's another quality women have that men don't have. I mean, there are men. I have some intuition too, but in general, women are just more
Yeah,
intuitive.
very. Yeah.
They can feel things when they're right or when they're not right.
Exactly.
They can see through the facade of what
Mhm.
somebody's putting out there.
I know that's really I completely forgot about that. I didn't even think about that, but that's true. Yeah, women really have a strength when it comes to that.
Right.
And like you said about how who was it that Cleopatra took down?
Mark Anthony.
Mark
He was
Anthony,
letting his
yeah.
whole kingdom or country, whatever, go to heck because he was chasing her around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the thing is it's like they have the power to help a man or break a man. You know.
Exactly, to make them or break them.
Yeah, exactly.
do.
And it's like they don't think about how much of a strength that is. Like compared to a guy being muscular and
Right,
strong.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
actually,
like
yeah. They
they-
can accomplish
yeah.
a lot more than a man can.
hmm That's really cool to think about. I didn't even think about that, but.
That's why whenever you see more women growing up with their fathers more than their like mothers, they get the more masculinity side, and that's why you see more trans people
Yeah.
these days. And then it's the
Yeah.
opposite side for
Yeah, that's a
vice
whole other
versa.
topic I'm kind of afraid to touch on, but we may do
Yeah.
that sometime.
Yeah, sometimes
People get offended so easily, and nowadays it's like people seems to be they're looking for something to be offended about.
Yeah, definitely.
Even this topic, I was a little leery about talking about.
Yeah, this one.
Well,
Yeah, this is kind of.
yeah,
But that's the thing. Is it's like men and women have their own strengths.
Exactly.
Like we were talking about. It's like it doesn't make either one less than each other, but
Right.
we're different. We're not the
Right.
same kind of people.
Right.
We're not. We could like you said, a man could work a job really good, but also a woman could easily manipulate a man or help him out or help him grow. Whatever happens
Yeah.
to be.
Well, and some men say that women wouldn't survive without men, and that's true. But then men would not survive without
Exactly.
women very long either.
Mhm.
Sure, out in the wild, let's say everything went out. Let's say all the electronics, everything just stopped. Water, everything. The man has got a much better chance of surviving for longer than the woman in those
Mhm.
situations. But in over a period of time, if the women aren't here, then humanity would not survive
Yeah, we
either.
would go extinct as well.
Because
Yeah.
we need women to reproduce.
Exactly.
So we both do need each other. It's not a question of not needing, but it's just a question of the roles or what each of us can do. And I don't know what the problem is with recognizing the facts about that. It's not belittling men or women. We each just have different qualities and we complement each other.
Mhm.
And a man with a good woman behind him can do much better, I believe, than he can by himself. But if he gets a bad woman behind him, then she can pull him
Yeah,
down too.
like an anchor, like you said.
Like
She-
an anchor. You have
she's-
anchors and sails.
yeah.
So
Exactly.
they both have their good points and bad
Yeah,
points.
exactly. Yeah, seriously. What you doing there, Claude? Fixing your bracelet?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like we were just saying. It's like we each have our own strengths, and it's like women have like you said, they're more intuitive than men, and they have other things that men don't have, like giving birth, being able to nurture kids, and everything
Right.
like that. So, but I'm trying to.
Yeah,
think
we
of
don't have breasts either. So
Yeah.
we can't. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't.
Now,
yeah.
see, that's the way things change, though. Back when I was a kid, the women were supposed to. It was better to use bottle feed.
Yeah.
I was bottle fed probably myself, and now it's like, well, it's better to breastfeed. So these things change as
Yeah.
the time and the culture and everything changes. Your mother breastfed you guys. I thought that was a lot better because the only problem is that now. a lot of women don't want to do that because you can't hardly do that and work too.
Yeah.
So, but I just think that's better for the kids.
Yeah, so now they made these electronic things like breast pumps. So like,
Yeah.
so you put on these
those things are hard to get.
well,
we
you
tried
get
them.
these. They're new though. These
Oh,
are
maybe they're
the
better.
these are the things that you just put on your boobs and they pump out your breast milk and they put it in a container and it stays in the container until you're done. So it kind of pumps your breast all day long and then they freeze it and then whenever the kid they put it in a bottle and then they feed the kid.
And that's another
Because they
thing.
can't do it at work, so they have to breastfeed like it's weird.
That's a,
Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say that's another thing too. It's like women breastfeed. Like we could, if we had a kid, we could give him formula, but it's not
Yeah.
the same. It's not as
Yeah, once
as
again,
good.
we
for-
can't
yeah.
do that.
It's not as good as if a woman were to breastfeed a child
Right.
instead of us giving them some sort of
Well, there's a
formula or whatever.
closeness and a bond that
Yeah.
develops there that the man's not going to develop.
Exactly,
With the
yeah.
kid, so.
Man,
Why am I being
get back into this, Claude.
He's playing with his bracelet.
Yeah.
I forgot what was going on here.
But yeah, it's just like like I was saying though, it's like it's better in my personal opinion. Like you said, mom breastfed us. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Everything like that. And I remember what it was like to have her around. She was always taking care of us,
Yeah.
cooking us food, keeping the house clean. Just while you were at work,
Right.
getting the money and everything like that.
Traditional, yeah.
Well, another thing too is it's like I remember when we lived in grandma's house, we heard a noise at the door, and Claude started feeling real sick and everything like that. And you went out there and checked who it was. You didn't tell mom, hey, go out there and go
Yeah,
see
you
this.
go out there and see.
Yeah, I went last week. Like you said, I went
Yeah.
last week, so it's your turn this
Take
week.
care of the kids, yeah.
Exactly. And like mom held us and she kept us, close. Like, she
Right.
took care of us. She's like, it's going to be okay, like everything like that. A woman's good with that compared to like if it was like maybe a man or you would be like, oh, it's fine. There's nobody out there. Calm down.
I don't see how a woman could. I know some women go off to war and their husbands stay home with the kids. I just don't see how a woman could respect a man. I mean, it's possible, but just in my mind, I can't see how a woman could
Yeah.
respect.
Well,
a man.
that's the thing. Is it's like you have to
Or
have
depend on him or trust him or.
a masculine and feminine role. It's like sometimes the women.
Yeah, maybe if it's reversed, that would work. If he was
Yeah.
real feminine and she was masculine. Then
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes they work. Like sometimes it works like that. And another thing too, the thing with women too is it's like a guy could wake up the next day and be like, you don't feel like you love your girlfriend as much as you did the day
Yeah,
before.
that's-
Maybe you don't feel like you love her, but logically as a
Yeah.
man that you do love her. You're just feeling this way today.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to a woman, she loses feeling. And then she loses the man. Then she misses him.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen a lot too.
I've
Like
experienced that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and me too. I've experienced the same thing. Is it's like that's the thing about men and women too. Is it's like men think more logically and women think more emotionally,
Right. And
which is
especially- yeah,
which is
especially-
yeah.
Go ahead.
Which there's nothing wrong with that because it helps them when it comes to the kids. They're more
Right.
emotional, but
Yeah, they're more in touch with their feelings.
Yeah, and like the thing about how you said, for a fact, like logically that you love them. It's just you don't feel like you do. Well, the thing with girls is since they think a different type of way, it's like, oh, I don't feel like I love him today, so this isn't gonna work. I'm gonna break up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is that commitment is not as important as it used to be.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was almost like if someone divorced, it was a shame.
yeah,
Or if they had a kid out of wedlock, sometimes they would send the girls off to have the child somewhere
Yeah.
else, and maybe put it for adoption
Yeah.
or whatever. But now it's like so accepted to just if you're married, just a divorce, and then that's okay. It's no big deal. And then the problem is feelings change.
yeah,
And women's feelings change a lot of times around about once a month when they have their menstrual cycle. I mean, I've been with women and they'll tell me, well, don't pay no attention to me. It's my time of the month.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
thinking crazy. So they even know that they don't
Yeah.
think. They can't think straight, a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Another thing I want to touch on the topic too about how men and women are different. So we told you about that Instagram model. I won't say the name because I don't want to, But
Right.
anyway, she had sex with a basketball player and had the kid, and then she what'd she do? She I don't know. She was married to him or something. I don't know.
She broke up with him,
She
didn't she?
broke up with him and then got like $200,000 a month for child support. And then she was on there talking about how she used them. She's like, they're so dumb. Those basketball
Yeah.
players are so easy because they don't wear condoms. But if let's say for example a guy were to go on there and was like, yeah, I straight used her for sex. Like I didn't even. He would
Yeah,
get bashed.
he'd be a
That's the
bastard.
thing. That's the thing. Is it's like
Girls
there's-
hype each other up for that. They're like, yeah, girl,
yeah, you get
did
that
it.
bag, get that money, It's
Yeah,
but
but
that's the
then-
thing. It's just like and she was on No Jumper, I think, talking about
Yeah,
how many.
yeah.
She's like, I have 28 bodies or something like that. It's
Yeah,
like,
I saw
and
that.
she was sitting there bragging about it and everything like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah, but if a guy goes on there and it's like, yeah, I use her, they're like, how could you do that to a
Yeah.
What a
female?
pig. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always been a double standard.
Exactly.
Always has been for women and men.
Yeah, and that's the
The
thing.
man is always held more accountable than the women. The women
Mm-hmm.
are not as accountable. They don't, it's like never their fault.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like that's a big problem now in the U.S. Is like a woman will have a kid with a man and everything like that, and they won't let the guy see the kid, but they'll make him pay the child support.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like it's kind of messed up because they have no accountability. Like if it was back in the day or they needed men to survive, they would be with the
Yeah.
man still. But now they can go to the system and get money and get taken
Right.
care of.
The
and-
system which was actually put together by men.
yeah, exactly.
So they say they don't need a man to survive, but yet they're on welfare, food stamps, and this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
housing, and then they have to have that, or the child support too. I mean, I got you guys. I didn't get any child support.
Yeah.
I didn't. I had to do it myself.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like, but you don't really see. I mean, you don't really see women paying child support for the kids. You
It
see,
happens, but it's not. Common.
Yeah, but you see for the most part, it's the
Yeah,
men.
I don't know what the stats on are.
Yeah,
it's pretty rare.
Even during a divorce, a woman gets like a portion of what a man
Yeah.
has because of
and
the
in
fact
some
that,
states,
They
they
get
get alimony
50%.
too. In Florida, if they're married like 10 years, they get alimony for a
Yeah,
long
and the
time.
reason, one of the reasons that they get child support is because, obviously, how we were talking about like how women like
well,
and
men
are
work
different.
more, yeah,
Yeah, men work more,
and they make more for the most part.
they make a
because-
lot more. So the thing is, women need that child support to take care of the kid.
Which, like you said before, Dad, it would be easier just to take care of us and pay for us per month
Oh, it
instead of
is.
paying for
Yeah,
child
because
support.
I paid
Yeah.
child support before I had you guys. too.
Yeah.
A couple other kids I had.
Which I feel like it should just be set to a certain like minimum, like what the kid needs, which, obviously I don't have no say in it like right now, but
it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never got a penny of that child support.
yeah, but that's the thing is like, and I know there's like women that pay child support maybe like for kids and stuff like that, or when people get divorced, the guy can take some of the woman's money, but it's such a small percentage.
Yeah.
It's usually in like relationships where the woman makes more than the,
The man.
man.
And that's the thing too. Is it's like for the most part, if a woman is making more than a man, they usually have a problem respecting the man too. And they're like they might not be working as hard, but they don't have. I don't know what that problem is with them not being able to respect men whenever they make more money than
Yeah,
them.
nowadays there's a lot of women getting married to men just so they can have a divorce and get that money. Because
Yeah.
And see, I don't understand that because if they get in there and admit that afterward, I don't see any difference in that than extortion. I mean,
Yeah.
like the girl was admitting
They-
she did
they just
that,
straight
she
up-
planned it, and
But there's no accountability.
yeah, there
like,
again, it's always been that way. There's not the same judgment or
Yeah.
consequences for women when they do things like that. As
Well,
men.
and like you said, it's like a double standard. Like if a guy got up on there and said, "Yeah, I was with that older lady and I just stayed with her till she died so I could get her money whenever she passes away." A
Right.
guy could get in trouble for that and get the money. It could be taken back to the
And when
family.
was the last time you seen a teenage girl tried as an adult?
yeah,
But you see teenage boys tried as an
like
adult.
they'll be
because they
16.
do some
15
heinous
years
crime.
old,
There may
yeah.
even be a girl involved in it, but she doesn't get tried as an adult.
Yeah.
There's always a laxer standard for
Yeah.
the women in crimes usually.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess so. It's just so different, especially nowadays. It's like it's so kind of off balance, and that's the thing. It's like men not being men. And That's
Yeah.
the issue. That's why women start to take on the more masculine role.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a fear. If the men aren't being men, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to have to stand up for themselves.
Yeah, they have to
They're not the men
survive.
do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's
yeah.
that's the thing. Is it's like, for example, the girl that I was telling you about that was an Instagram model that had the kid with the dude. She wrote a book about
Oh,
how to
that's
do
right.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I don't understand.
But that's
how
the thing. He's not being a. If he knew she was gonna be like that, and he knew she wrote a book, why is he risking taking?
Well, some people said, he got what he kind of deserved, or he should have been smarter because he knew what she was when he met. And that may be true, but still, it does not negate the fact that she was able to go on there afterwards and say she did this on purpose.
Yeah, that's
and-
true. Yeah.
And it's still, there's no repercussions for that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. He may have been naive or ignorant or stupid, whatever. But when a man's in love with someone, really, they do anything.
Well, and she
for
might have
them.
just told him like, oh, I just did that just because it made me
Yeah.
famous. Like women are like you said, that, like they're really good at being manipulative. They can
Exactly.
manipulate really easy
Yeah.
because they have their control because their body for the most part and they can control a man easier because a guy wants to get laid or whatever
Yeah.
happens to
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is, now you got a lot of younger women getting like sugar daddies, but they have sugar daddies, but they're not giving anything in return. I'm not saying
I'm not saying, but that's the thing too. Is it's like that's also
Platonic.
yeah,
Platonic.
Yeah.
that's
platonic.
also a man. That's a man's fault too. Like if he's being a sugar daddy,
Yeah, if he's allowing it, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's not. Which I'm not saying that if he gives her money, she should give anything in return. But if someone's taking care of you, you would do something for them. Whatever
Yeah,
happens to be,
right.
cooking for them, taking care of them. Sleeping with them, whatever happens to be.
Well, I know on the dating sites, I see more and more platonic.
Yeah.
So they're looking for guys because, once again, men are too weak. There's so many men out there now. They'll go with a girl with platonic. She may have a boyfriend, steady boyfriend, and he's paying her rent, paying her college, whatever
Exactly.
it happens to be, and they're okay with it, or just having a relationship online.
Yeah.
I've also seen quite a bit of that, only interested in online relationships.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of you see the pretty girls are putting things like
Yeah.
that. They got a steady boyfriend. They're just looking for some guy to take care of them, and she'll talk to him once in a
Yeah.
while. So that's a form of, in a way, that's kind of a form of prostitution.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's just like there it goes back to again. It's like men not being men. It's like
Exactly.
why would you want? You should be going
There's a
out.
market for that.
Yeah.
If there wasn't a market, them girls wouldn't be doing
Yeah.
it. So, and who's the one paying? Who's the shopper? It's the men. The men.
Yep.
The men have a demand. They want that. So there again, they're
Instead of
creative.
going out and that's the thing. That's why a lot of people have social anxieties. Like they don't go out and just talk to people.
Right.
You never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you might end up with if you go out there and just do something. And that's the thing. It's like that's what makes a lot of men today so feminine. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of the women have taken on the masculine role.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say is that a lot of women are like not relying on men as much, and I think they don't want to rely on men because of the fact that there's a lot of women who have OnlyFans, and that's how they make a lot of money. And the thing was that after the creator of OnlyFans started making it like not about explicit photos and all that sort of stuff, the women that had OnlyFans started bashing the owner about it because after they couldn't make an OnlyFans, they knew they had to find another way to make
I
money.
think they backed down off
rely-
that, didn't they?
Relying on the
They're
man.
going to allow them to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just gonna
But that's the
rely on
thing.
man.
There goes the show too. Is it's like a man for the most part, it can't go on there and post videos
Yeah.
like that.
I don't think
there's-
anybody would pay for me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But a woman can't because she's got. That's what women have. They have the
Yeah.
looks. They have.
Yeah, for a
body,
certain amount of time.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and then
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's just like guys like better, like good looking women. It's
Yeah.
just a thing.
Yeah,
It's
men
just
are-
how it
because
is.
now women think the older that they get, they don't have to take care of themselves anymore.
Yeah.
And then they just stop taking care of themselves. So that's how. And then they have all these like whole bunch of stuff for these guys where it's like, I want a guy who's got a 6-pack and he is a
Yeah.
millionaire,
At least 6 foot tall.
at
Yeah.
least 6 foot
Six
tall.
pack-
They say it's less
six
than
pack,
And-
6
5%
And
of
he's
the
gotta
population.
have
Population,
good eyes, a good smile, straight teeth, of course.
Yeah.
But then they're like, they're lazy. They lay around. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
Their body counts.
What do you
over
have to
10.
offer? Yeah, it's like what do you have to offer a man like that? Because he's
They
gonna
have
go
all
for.
these- They
if-
have all these things for what they want in guys, but then again, they don't take care of themselves.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's just like a guy's gonna go for his best option. If the girl wants him, and like she doesn't do anything with herself, the guy's gonna go for the woman that's gonna help him out. Like you said, she's either a sale or an
I
angle.
mean, there's a lot of beautiful women out there, available beautiful women all over the world. If you can travel like I
Yeah.
can, it's like, what do you have to offer me besides your? And I ask girls a lot of times, what do you have to offer me besides your looks?
Yeah.
And sometimes they get angry about that because they don't know what to say because that's all they know.
Yeah, that's all they know. Exactly. It's like, can you cook? Can you clean? Can you take care of me? Can
Yeah.
you do all that stuff? And it's like you said earlier, it's like that you want a slave. It's like
Yeah.
it's not about that. It's like I can take care of you if you take
Yeah.
care of me. And it's
Yeah.
both. It's
yeah, I've
it's
taken care of quite a few
So
women.
you gotta
Yeah.
provide for, like, if you want protection from your guy, then you gotta do stuff for him too. You're not just gonna get protection for no reason at all. Like, you're not just gonna go out with like a guy and
But then there again, Polly, a lot of these guys, well, you know that yourself, that they'll take you out and take you to dinner and just to be
Yeah.
with you. So, and you don't have to do anything for them. Just
Well,
give them a little bit of your time.
a good example of that is the girl that I'm kind of like rocking with right now. There was this guy that she works with, and he buys her stuff all the time, spends so much money on her, but for no reason. It's not like they're going out, and it's
Right.
like I'm with her. He knows I'm with her, but he likes her, so he gets her all this stuff. He gets and it's just like for what? I guess maybe his end goal is maybe, well, one day, you know, she'll see how great of a
See,
guy I
that's
am.
what they think. They're just waiting in the orbiters or waiting in
Yeah.
the wings, thinking one day she'll realize how great I am.
The guy waiting in line.
Yeah.
And then, but then, you know, she comes there and tells about how bad her boyfriend treats her, and he listens. He's what they call an emotional tampon.
Well, and that's the thing. Is it's like the woman will stay with the guy who treats her not as well than the guy who's buying her all these things.
Exactly.
Because the guy is strong
Yeah, he's
emotionally.
got some strength.
Yeah.
He doesn't need her approval.
Yeah.
And these guys are seeking her approval. Part of the problem there, I think, is, of course, kids will grow up with their mothers, and of course, if they don't get their mom's approval, they're in trouble. Then they go to school, mostly women teachers. They're seeking approval there. Unless they have a strong masculine role model, they learn that they need the approval of women and
Yeah.
girls or whatever to make their life go smoother.
Yeah.
So then they get out in the dating world and they're being nice to girls and treating them good. Women despise a nice guy. Although almost all of them tell you, unless they know, I want a nice guy. They
Yeah.
don't want a nice guy. No, I'm not saying you got to be a dick to women, but they don't like nice guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They can't respect a nice guy.
No, I've been in my own self. I've been too generous sometimes, and then they end up disrespecting me, and I leave, and then later on they realize that you were just too good to me, or that you
Yeah.
they
Well,
don't-
yeah.
they
Well,
don't
like I was
respect
talking about that girl that I was rocking with too. Is it's like sometimes she'll get grumpy. When she gets grumpy, I'm like, you better watch your attitude. You might be tired, but don't be talking to me like that. You know, don't disrespect me. But most guys will be like, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Are you tired? Maybe you should go take a nap." You know, like I'll get you food, to do this and that, because they think
Yeah,
that being nice is
yeah.
the right. Because let's say if
I
it,
fell into that trap myself. It
I've done the
doesn't
same
work.
thing, yeah. But if it was
doesn't
the other,
work.
because if it was the other way around and you had a
That's
buddy
the way
that was-
you'd wanna be
yeah,
treated.
I would love to be
Yeah.
treated like that. But women aren't the same like that. Like the moment you
Right.
start doing that, you're kind of following their lead. They want a leader. They don't want someone to be a follower
Right,
for them.
right.
You
There's
know?
there's no 50-50. There's always a
Uh.
patriarchy. Somebody is leading.
Yeah.
And if it's not the man, I mean, like you said, maybe I'm sure there are exceptions where the man is more feminine, the woman's more masculine, that works. But if you have a masculine man and a woman who's trying to run the show, I mean, that's what I had in my last relationship. She was so masculine that, like I say, it took me a month or two to get her to walk beside
Yeah.
me. And she told me all the other guys she went out with did everything she wanted them to. They followed her around. I'm like, I don't do that.
And that's why she wasn't with him. That's why
I
she
know.
was. Yeah.
It was a constant work. Just
And that's
but
being,
she didn't grow up with a masculine role model. Her brother's gay, and all her friends are gay guys. So she has no idea how to relate to a man who's used to being a leader.
Well, and that's the thing. Like for the most part, when it comes to gay guys hanging around with women, they if it's a pretty woman, they kind of praise them. You know, that's kind of what guys
Yeah.
do. They boost women up.
Right.
You know, they do that. Like gay guys, they do that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know they just, you know, that's how it is. It's like women. You were saying there can be a masculine woman and then a feminine guy, but the only way that can work for the most part is if the shoot, I lost my train of thought. If the woman knows that sometimes
up
if
to
she's
the
losing
mic.
feelings, if she's losing feelings for the guy, it's only for the day or whatever. I'm getting all hot again. I get all nervous.
Frank, is our sound good?
Yeah, it actually started working. That clicking noise went away.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
comments.
or anything?
But I mean, we had sound earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
any, Brandon? You got any comments?
I don't know.
What's our
You know,
time?
it's weird without the ticking noise because I got so used to it and Frank figured it out. It just kind of went silent. It felt like
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was gone until you said anything.
yeah. 'cause
Yeah,
was
no, it
ticking and all of a
just
sudden
automatically stopped, and Henry was still talking in the mic, and Claude had tapped on it because we didn't know if it was.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
the ticking noise went away, and I was like, "What the heck?" You know, I was like, it just seemed kind of silent.
Yeah.
You know, but like I was saying, back to I know what I was gonna say now. There's the relationships where the woman is more masculine and the guy's more feminine, but it's such a small percentage because of the fact that when a woman has that type of relationship, if maybe she doesn't feel like she loves the man that day, she's thinking logically and thinking, well, I do love him, but I'm just kind of feeling this sort of way today. You know, that's usually how it is. Like
Yeah.
a man, just exactly how a man
I've
is.
been the same way. I've been going out when I've been married and I've been with women, dating them for a long time. And there's times I feel like I don't know why I'm with her.
Yeah.
But I know that I know that if she left, I would want her.
Yeah.
I realize those are just feelings. Is where women seem to act more on their feelings instead of logic. That's why long ago, when commitment was important in a relationship, the woman wasn't quick to leave.
Yeah.
Every time there was a little trouble or she didn't feel like she loved him. But many times I've heard women say, well, I just don't feel like I love him anymore. I'm not in love. Well, the real love begins after the honeymoon wears
Yeah.
off, the enamorado,
Yeah.
which is I feel so in love, like that desire
Yeah.
you have for the person. But after you live with them for 6 months or whatever it happens to be, that wears out. Then you find out if you really do love the person.
Yeah, another thing too is it's like a little piece of advice for that. If you feel like you don't have the emotions you did for that certain person, kind of give yourself a break from each other.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
a
thing.
good
It's like I
idea,
live
too.
with this one, with that the girl that I'm working with right now. I lived with her for here at this house for 2 years, and we were together every day. She came home every day, and eventually we just kind of got tired of each other.
Yeah.
We just couldn't.
There's no mystery.
No, and it's better now when I just have my own things to do, and she's working, I'm working, doing my own thing, and we have more when we hang out. It seems more of a prize, I guess you would say. It's more worth it, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like, yeah, if you feel like you're not liking somebody like you did before, kind of just distance yourself or whatever. Give yourself some time. Give yourself
Well,
some
Pauline
space.
has experienced the same thing with these guys FaceTiming and just always there,
24/7.
always there,
Yeah.
always there.
I don't like FaceTime all the time. Like the guy that I'm talking to right now, he doesn't FaceTime all the time, which is obviously what I like. But then I've been with a guy who doesn't like FaceTiming all the time, and then all of a sudden it's like we FaceTime every single day.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to date. It's hard to get through a relationship during the summer because you have so much time to give to that person.
Right.
So you have too much time. So it's like, okay, well, I can talk to her all the time now, or I can talk to him all the time, and sooner or later you're going to get tired of each other. So when you're at school, it's different because you can only see each other certain times. You can't do certain things like you can hang
But
out
that's the
like
thing
you would
is it's
outside
like
of school.
as a guy, you got to learn to be able to maintain that as much as possible because of the fact that you're not always going to have something to do. You know what I'm saying? You're not always going to be busy. Sometimes you're going to have free time, which don't always use that free time to talk to that girl. Sometimes go out and hang out with your buddies. Go out and have a good time. I don't know, play some video games or something. Watch some TV, Don't instantly find your comfort in talking to your girl or whatever.
You need to focus on your mission, your goals.
Yeah.
And a woman is more attracted to a man who's got a vision and a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, because then she feels secure with him because she is not the center of his
Exactly.
universe.
And that's the thing is it's like guys get it mixed up. They think that if they give their attention and all their love toward this female that she's going to love it, which for a guy, if it was you and the woman was doing the same thing for you, you would love that.
Yeah, a man's number one emotional need is for his woman to put the relationship above everything
Exactly.
else. Most women don't even know that.
Mhm.
It's amazing how, and men too, how we'll go to college for 4, 6, 8 years, whatever, to study for a career, but nobody ever puts in the time to learn how to have a relationship, what a woman wants from a man and what a man wants from a woman.
Exactly.
And that's why you see these dudes with so much free time, they're constantly texting women, to try and, get with them. But, whenever a woman, meets this guy that has less and less free time, they're like, man,
More try, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
a
like,
man's time is valuable. Your attention is the coin of gold for women. Your attention to her is like the coin of gold, and you give her too much, then it's not worth it. It's like
Yeah.
copper. It's like a
Yeah.
penny. Pennies aren't even copper anymore.
Yeah, if you start giving them all your attention, you start being the nice guy. You end up getting that term when you end up getting that saying, "Nice guys finish last."
Well, and that's the thing. It's like I love him. I'm just not in love with him.
Yeah.
It's just he's a nice guy.
And
but-
most of the time, they don't even know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Paulina. She falls out of love with
Yeah,
some of these
and I
guys,
mean-
and then it's like she doesn't. Should you really know why? I mean, you may think, well, I talk to him too much, but you don't really know what happened.
Yeah, and one thing is that women will say like they want a nice guy who brings them flowers and all that sort of stuff, the romantic guy. But the thing is that that's not what they want.
Mhm.
They're not really necessarily sure what they want. Like you have to give them what they
Well,
want.
A woman wants to invest in you. A woman
Yeah.
doesn't fall in love by how much you invest in her. She falls in love by how much she invests in you.
Yeah, and that's the-
time and what's it called? Thought investment.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Another thing too is it's like a woman wants to know that she's not like your only option. She wants to know that you have multiple options, but you're just choosing to have her.
Right.
It's like if she thinks that she's your only option, then she kind of it's like she's not attracted to a guy
Yeah,
like
a
that.
lot of women would disagree with that, but it's true.
Yeah.
I found it to be true.
Well-
I've heard other guys talk about it.
Yeah.
Not that you
It's
have to be
true.
running. It's true. She says it's true. Running around, but she doesn't want to. I mean, she wants to know that other women want you.
Yeah.
And that you actually could go out and be with other women because then she
Exactly.
has a
Competition
prize, right?
anxiety.
The man wants a prize. He wants some arm candy or whatever, and she wants the same thing. She wants a man that other women want to be with.
Exactly.
If you think of it as like a human and animal instinct, you know, we're all like beings, you know.
Yeah, we're still technically we're still animals.
Yeah, so like if you really think about it, like what we were made for is, you know, to mate with other beings.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like if you lived in a tribe today or nowadays and you were the strongest man, a lot of women want to be with you because they know you can be taken care of, and that's what the women want. That's why a woman wants a guy who has got multiple options. Even he's not obviously going out there and picking every single one, but she knows that he has other women. You know, and like you said, competition anxiety.
I'd say women are still attracted to genetics too. They don't consciously think about it. But when they see a man who's in shape and strong, it's disciplined, they know that he's going to pass on genes, you know, to their kids, and their genes will be passed on down the line. Is what if they see somebody who's weak. Now, a lot of women will say, "Oh, that's not true." They don't think about it. It's the same with men. They don't consciously think, but a man is attracted to a young, fertile woman.
Yep.
Even when you get older, you're still attracted to the same thing. It's just a evolutionary programming within all of us
to reproduce and, you know, kind of just that's
Otherwise,
how it is.
If we didn't have that, we would die out.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that's deeply ingrained within us.
Exactly,
We can't rationalize it away.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you can make your choices of who you want to be with, but your attraction is something that's been in you for evolutions for thousands of years.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. People are like, well, you don't have to go by those instincts. You don't have to do that. It's
No, you
like,
don't have to.
No, but I mean, personally, for your own safety, it's built and ingrained in you for you to keep going and
to reproduce.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so humanity doesn't die out.
Yeah, and so you have stronger, you know, more, I don't know, kids who are going to be your line or whatever, your bloodline.
Lineage,
your lineage. That's what I was trying to think
That's
of.
an important thing for a man too.
Yeah.
And this paternity and that, you know, for thousands of years, a man didn't know. I mean, that's why they didn't want their woman around other men. And just because we have paternity tests now, man doesn't want his woman to hang around with a lot of other men or being out running around because of that paternity thing. Now, he may not be consciously thinking about that, but once again, that's an evolutionary thing ingrained in him from centuries when they just didn't know.
Yeah, and that's why, like, that's why when a girl cheats on you or something like that, you can't have the same trust or have the same thing, because of the fact that, like, back in the day, if a woman cheated on you or was slept with another man and she had a kid, you wouldn't know if it's yours or not because they didn't have.
Your line will die out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and another thing is that, like, let's say, for example, you don't want to talk to other guys. They'll be like, "Oh, you're so what is it?
Insecure.
Yeah,
Insecure.
controlling.
Small.
Yeah, it's like
Small dick
Same-
energy.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm controlling or that I'm insecure. It's the fact that I'm territorial. If you're mine, you're not supposed to be going and talking to other guys and all that.
And that's the
stuff.
thing too, is it's like with the women that I've been with and, you know, stuff like that, I'll tell them how I want my girl to be, and if they don't like that, they can go find somebody else.
Yeah, and they say it's controlling, but the bottom line is you got to have boundaries. This is what I want. No passwords on. I want your password on your Instagram, or I don't want you on Instagram showing your butt there and different things like that. I mean, why should she be advertising herself on there if she has a boyfriend?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, unless she's making money on there, not if she's going to make money, but unless she's actually had a business on there when you met her, that's a little different. But then again, a guy has to ask himself, do I want to be with a woman who's advertising herself as single on there when guys are hitting on her all the time on Instagram from all over the world?
Exactly.
You know, it's not insecurity, it's just boundaries and it's smart thinking for the man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The problem is, like, nowadays, a lot of women, they advertise themselves like that, and they have so many guys that hit them up. When they break up with their boyfriend, they end up going and having, you know, multiple sex partners.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It brings their value down. That's like women don't think about that. It's like,
Well, they think they can be like men, and you know, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
doesn't.
not the same. A guy can go out and sleep with a lot of. It's always been that way. A guy can go out and sleep with a lot of different women. And they call him a stud.
Well,
He's a class, no, but
and
a
the
woman
reason-
does it, then she's a tramp.
and that's the reason is because the guy has to put out the work. He has to put out the effort to
And
get.
all the girl has to do is say
Say
yes.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
exactly. And it's like, it's not like women are going out there putting out the work to get the guy to, you know, be
You've
with.
got what, a half a dozen guys orbiting around you right now that'd probably come over and be with you if you were that kind of girl, and you're not. So,
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what women don't understand is the fact that a woman, she could easily get guys. They've played the game. They've been doing it since they were young, since they
Right.
were old enough to understand what, you know, having a relationship is.
and all they have to do is say yes, and they will always have options for guys. Compared to with a guy, he has to go out there and kind of make himself more available. You
And
know?
he has to be somebody. He
Yeah.
has to be something. He has to do something.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
He's judged by who he is and what he does and what he looks like and all
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Your comments on that, Paulina?
I don't have any.
Don't have any comments on that? Okay.
but yeah, it's just like that's what there goes back to the same topic. It's like men and women are just not the same.
They're different. Yeah.
They're different. We're
just
different. And that's what I'm saying. It's like a guy has to go out, like we were saying, guy has to go out and put the effort to get with girls, or has to, make himself available. And all a woman has to do is just kind of post some pictures on Instagram for her looking good, and she'll get comments like,
Yeah, exactly.
"Oh, you look so good," all kinds of stuff like
I know
that.
my ex-girlfriend had guys offering her $5,000 or $6,000 to go away for the
Yeah.
weekend or some crap like
Well,
that.
and then I want to speak on this topic too. Is it's like there's guys who hit up girls and be like, "I'll pay $1,000 for some bathwater or a picture of your feet." Like,
foot pics. I think Polly's experienced some of that foot pic stuff. Huh, Polly? Didn't you say what they offer you for pictures of your feet?
$100 a foot.
that's what I'm saying. But that's
I wouldn't let her do that. I think that's a form of prostitution.
yeah. But that's the thing is, it's like
Foot prostitution.
that's a man. I mean, if you're into feet, that's that do your thing. Be into feet, but
yes,
like
yeah.
do it with somebody who you're with. Don't go around asking, "Hey,
Yeah.
send me a picture of your feet. Your feet
I
look
told
good."
her she'd have to give me a 60-40 cut.
Yeah.
I was gonna say earlier is how you guys were talking about how women and men aren't the same. I mean, it sucks that a guy can get praised for going out and having sex with a whole bunch of females, but a girl can't like get praised for whatever, which basically they do because of the whole hot girl summer thing. But you get called a whore if you go and sleep with a whole bunch of guys, but the guy's a stud.
Yeah.
It's obviously not fair, but life isn't fair, so
Yeah,
it's gonna be
exactly.
like that. And I know people are always like, "Oh, well, let's just like make it like normalize it, whatever." It's like you can't. You don't realize how many people have tried
And-
already
yeah.
over the years, and it's just not gonna happen. It's
You're-
just the way
yeah.
that life's always
Another-
been. It's not gonna change.
Another problem with that though too is it's like when a woman sleeps with multiple guys, she can't connect with somebody as well as she could with.
Yeah, she has trouble pair bonding.
Yeah.
After so many men.
That's why a
That's
lot
a
of
statistically proven thing.
That's why a lot of the women that have slept with a lot of men, when they break up their boyfriend, like I said before, they just like, oh, onto another, dude, onto,
Right.
have sex with somebody else or whatever happens to be. And that's a big issue that women don't understand. It's like the more men you sleep with, I've noticed too, they start to value themselves less, just them personally, and their value goes down anyway. And then on
Right.
top of that, they just like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next.
Now, we're not talking about them less value as a human being
Yeah.
or anything like that, but on the sexual market, if you want
Yeah,
to
that's
term
what
it
I'm
that
saying,
way,
yeah.
they have less value. And a guy can tell if a woman's been with a lot of men.
Her actions, the way she
Yeah.
does,
She may, and it's the same with a woman can tell if a guy is full of crap or not. These guys that learn all these lines and techniques to pick up women, that may get them in the bedroom with the girl, but she is going to pretty quick figure out he's not the man he's portraying
Yeah.
himself. So I don't advise that type of stuff because she's disappointed and you're disappointed. It's like
Yeah.
Polly's met with a couple of guys that. They start out pretty good and then they end up being weak. They start out strong, but then they end up being weak
Yeah,
and then
because
she breaks
yeah,
up with them.
they don't know how to continue to be a man. It's like because that's the thing is it's like, and I've noticed too is it's like one of the reasons that you've been with some of the guys that you've been with or like hung out with them or liked them is because of the fact that they started off strong. And I know now you're not sitting there thinking, oh yeah, they're strong. They're like, they're not super emotionally attracted to me or whatever. But then over time, they start to make themselves what we like to call simps. They start to simp for the girl.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I really like her. I think we could be something. I'm really in love with her. Now, you could feel that way. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. But the moment you start acting on those feelings, like calling you every day, FaceTiming you every day, that's what makes a woman unattracted to the guy. And I know if you've experienced that a lot this year. Like,
You have guys telling you how. And I've learned this from experience too. Women don't want to know how you feel. They don't care. What's Rich Cooper says. They just want to hang out at the finish line and enjoy the results, the winnings.
Yeah, and another thing about that is like it's so hard to find a guy that won't do that. So, I mean, I'm gonna admit I don't think it's a bad thing for a girl to date like a whole bunch of guys, especially at my age.
well,
Mainly,
just as long as you don't sleep with
yeah,
them.
as long as you're
especially
not
yeah
having
that.
sex with them.
But
Yeah.
like the thing is though,
Which
it's like
you're not.
Oh, wait, I'm
Yeah.
not, Dad.
I'll make that clear.
But
I keep a close eye on her.
The only,
keep the door open
the
if she has
only-
anybody over.
The only thing is like, girls get so much for it. I get so much for dating a whole bunch of guys and stuff, but it's just like
Get so much. What do you mean?
people
that.
call me a whore, or they call me names, and they're like, no one wants to date you. You've dated almost everybody in Troy, and it's like,
But is that
Well,
mostly girls doing that?
it's girls and guys. But I think the reason why they say that is because they don't understand the point of view that I'm put in. Basically, the guy comes and talks to me first.
But most of them guys would jump at the chance to go out with
Yeah,
you.
Yeah,
and then most of
and
the
then-
girls are just jealous because you have
Yeah.
more options
Yeah, and
than
then
they
another
do.
thing is though is like, what do you expect? Like it's hard to find a guy, especially the type of guy that I would like. I mean, I would treat a guy the way a guy's supposed to be treated. You know, I would take care of him or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, if I'm gonna take care of him, he should take care of me. But like, you can't find that around here. Like, it's hard to find a guy
Well,
like that, especially
yeah.
at my age.
Well, they just
because I'm
don't
only
know.
14.
They're ignorant because they don't have anybody to learn from.
And they grow
Yeah.
up in today's society with all the phones and all that kind of stuff where like you're supposed to praise a woman, but the moment that happens, they can't keep one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like there's a push for the men to just share their emotions with you and tell you how they feel about everything. And it just doesn't work. It's
Yeah.
a turn off for a woman. I've done it before myself. Not everything, but I've shared a lot of things. But they don't want to know all that stuff. You got to go share that with your buddies.
Yeah. Another thing too, kind of going back into the main topic about how men and women are different. There's this saying or something like that only dogs, kids, and women are loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
And a man is loved on the condition of what he does or
What he
something
does,
like that.
what he provides.
What he can
yeah,
provide,
what he-
exactly.
yeah.
And there goes to show it's just like a man is treated like
yeah, a
he's,
woman is loved for who she is.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's different for a man because he's loved on the fact that he can provide, he can take care of.
Yeah, children too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just different. You know, men and women are different. Women are always going to be loved by, I don't know, fathers, everything like
Well,
that.
even a guy, if he marries a woman, she has a couple kids, and kind of lets herself go. A lot of times he'll remember her as she was when he first met her.
Yeah.
And he'll still love her and still be with her. I mean, but on the reverse side of that, if a woman marries a man, he just comes home and decides he's not going to work anymore, sit on the couch, drink beer. She's not going to stay around long
Nope.
if he quits providing.
Yeah, that's true.
What time are we at?
What's that?
What's the time?
I don't know. I guess we ought to be wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us tonight. We will be back next weekend, Saturday night at 7 p.m. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can message Henry, DM him at Henry, what is it?
Henry_Daniels16 on my Instagram.
Or Mark's Inspirational Guidance at gmail.com. I will put I'll put those in the links. And anybody want to give their Instagram out here?
Yeah, mine's also Instagram. It's Claude Daniels with 2 Z's.
My Instagram is frank.daniels with a Z.
Mine's
He's a womanizer. Don't message him.
mine's
He'll steal you. He won't even bring you to the show.
mine's Pauline __1514.
Mine's Braden Link. Just plain simple.
Braden Link.
Yeah, Braden Link. Just
Braden
plain and
Link.
simple.
Yeah.
What was yours again, Claude?
Sneaky link.
Yeah, Sneaky Link. That's my old nickname was.
It's Claude Daniels with 2 Z's.
No
Just that's it,
spaces.
Claude Daniels. and-
Yeah, if you don't know how to spell
2
Claude,
Z's
it's
a day.
Claude.
Okay. All right. Well,
Always got to go the extra
we're going to
mile.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.